right? However, we're here and we are gonna get started. This is gonna be smooth, okay? This is gonna be smooth. Why is this gonna be smooth? Because this is a real issue. Let me pull the mic down. Let me pull the mic down. This is a real issue that real everyday people are dealing with, and I am too. That's why we're here today. So we're gonna talk about it, okay? We are gonna talk about it. So come in, grab you a seat. You know what I say? Grab you a notepad and a pen because we ain't trying to erase nothing. We gonna get this information and we gonna lock it in. Okay. So we not trying to erase nothing. We trying to keep it moving. Why are we trying to keep it moving? Because our goal, as we state on every stream, is to become the best version of ourselves, right? How are we gonna do that? How are we gonna do that? Not only by showing up, but also really looking at what our topic is today. What is our topic? Our topic is your to-do list is killing your vision. How many of us have to-do list? I'm pretty sure everyone. Y'all can all raise your hands. Y'all can get in the chat because I know you have a to-do list. Everybody does, right? Especially if you went through anything that we talked about up to this point. If you go back and you watch the videos, you've made goals, you made plans, you know what I'm saying? You've strategized, you've looked into yourself, you know, you've built your boundaries, right? You've chosen what things that you want to come in. um you know, you've made better decisions, right, by looking in the mirror, seeing where you currently are, and now you feel like you're rolling, right? How you doing? What's going on, I Life Gaming? Good to see you, bro. Glad you could make it today. But we're talking about to-do list. Because if we've done everything else, we've built our plans, we've built our vision, we got it all laid out, and we start rolling down this path of becoming the best version of ourselves, then what happens? What happens that I've seen, and I can only speak about myself, but what I've seen happen at this point is that you end up having a ton of things to do, right? Because not only are you changing yourself, not only are you starting to read books, not only are you, you know, trying to show up in relationships better and trying to show up to your friends better, like all of this stuff, it becomes a lot, right? We end up getting overwhelmed, right? Because it's not just about, you know, sometimes you get distracted, but it's just about the fact that you're getting overwhelmed, right? Your bandwidth has now been reduced to almost nothing, right? It's not that you're even unorganized, right? It's just the fact that you're overloaded. You feel overwhelmed, and there's everything that's coming at you. How can you become a better version of yourself, and not only better, but also be more effective, right? In the vision and the plan and the goals that you have. You can't be effective if you're overloaded. It's too much going on, right? It seems like a bunch of noise. Everything seems like noise. How do you see the path? My belief is that we're going to have to get rid of some stuff. We'll talk more about that. But for right now, let's think about, well, what is overloaded? I think we know how it feels to be overloaded. What is the definition of overloaded? You know how we do on this channel? Every time, let's look it up. Let's see if we can get this locked in. So we talk apples to apples, right? We're using the same terminology, because if overloaded is not the word, then we're going to use a different word, right? We'll find a better word. But right now, I think overloaded is the word. That's why I chose to use that, right? Let's look. Because I'm telling you, I don't look this stuff up. I'm learning as you're learning. I'm growing as you're growing. All I know is what I'm feeling, and I know where I should go. I know the things and challenges that I've been through. I know how I've overcome certain things before, and there's still certain things I'm still working on. Overloaded, or the lack of bandwidth, is a current issue, right? It's a current issue for me. Is it a current issue for you, chat? Are y'all having that same issue, that it feels like you just have to do a lot? right? And sometimes, especially now, we look at the economy, all the stuff that's happening, and we're really trying to figure out, well, you know, groceries expensive, right? Childcare is expensive, living expenses, like everything you're doing is expensive, which means that you have to try to do more work, right? To make the money. Can't make money if you're not working. So how we do that, right? But first, that's what I'm saying. Once we set the goal, we know what our goal is and how we can end up getting to the money. Then we have the plan of the attack, all the steps, all the things that we're going to have to go through. Then we come behind that and we're doing, so we have this plan locked in. Now, let's figure out what this overloaded feeling is because I know I feel it. If you feel it, we're going to try to fix it today because I need to fix it myself. So we're going to fix it together. So let's look it up, right? Overload. Let's say that. Oh no, let's say overloaded because that's actually what we're trying to say. We feel overloaded. Yeah, let's look up that. So let's go to the dictionary. Here we go. Let's put it up. Bow. Overloaded, right? Just pulled it up. And so overloaded, adjective, busy. Busy. One word, really? Okay, let's go. We're not going to look at the synonyms. Okay, antonyms. Overworked. Okay, that's one of them. I know it's way up at the top. My bad, y'all. But overloaded. I mean, overworked. Okay, packed. A bunch of one words. Okay, top heavy. All right, let's go back to overload. Right, we're gonna see if we can get to what that is. Come on, let me change my definition. My computer be tripping, y'all. All right, we just gonna type it up here. I see it's still loading. That's what it is. The page is still loading. Overload. Here we go. Boom. Go to the root word. Okay, overload. Way down. That's how that's how I feel, right? Y'all feel that way? Weighed down. What else we have? Encumbered. Okay. I mean, I guess overloaded is a very simple understanding, right? Weighed down. Uh, um, yeah, that's what it seems like at this moment, right? So that's the thing. If weighed down is what we're feeling, then we're trying to figure out, okay, so well, what do we do about that? Right? What are the steps that we can do to unencumber ourselves and we be able to be effective in what we're doing? Because based on what we've already talked about, we're getting organized, we're getting structure and all that kind of stuff. But here's the issue. If the problem is being overloaded, right? Your to-do list is way too long, right? It's because everything is on it, right? At that time when you feel overloaded, everything is important. Everything. It doesn't matter what it is, you got it on the list, it's all important, right? Little tasks end up being it just feels like it's major, right? Everything. When instead of you choosing the direction that you're going in, you end up just reacting to everything, right? If it comes up, okay, I'll figure it out, right? Almost to the point that you don't even have a list at this point. You're just reacting to everything because it keeps coming, right? It just keeps coming at you, and now I just got to react to it. Here it comes, okay, I'll deal with that. Okay, now this is coming, okay, I'll deal with that now. That's not the best way to be able to get to success, right? In any area, if you're just reacting, because there's no structure, there's no intent there. There's only reaction. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you for the subscribe. That's all right, warrior. Warrior, you here for it. Join the team. Join the team. What we doing? Getting better. What we doing? We growing. What we doing? We getting it in. Anyway, all right. Welcome. Salute to you. All right. So we're talking about the to-do list. We're talking about being effective. We're talking about getting rid of the feeling of being overloaded, overworked, weighed down. Too much is going on. I'm trying to be effective. That's what we're trying to fix, right? We're trying to address that, not fix. We're trying to address it. How do we address it? Well, if your to-do list is mad large, right? We just talked about it, right? Everything feels urgent, then we're what's the problem, right? Because the problem at that point is killing your vision. You can't even see your vision because you're just reacting to everything that is coming because it's too much, right? We're overwhelmed. Okay. So, in that, what are we trying to do, right? The first thing, and this is just me, like, I'm really just kind of trying to think through this. Um, because it's not really about just like checking boxes off the to-do list, right? It's not. But if we are checking boxes, then that feels good. That makes us feel better. It feels like we're achieving something. But it's killing the vision because it still makes you feel kind of like fragmented, right? In your focus. Like when you're trying to get to the goal, you're over here, you're over there. You really can't just stay focused and stay the path. You're here. You know what I mean? It feels like confusion, right? And every time it's almost like, and y'all know I do computers and stuff like that. And so it's almost like you're just constantly in a maintenance mode. I'm just trying to fix. I'm trying to fix this situation. I gotta fix that situation. Oh, this just popped up. Okay, let me fix that situation. Like, that's how it feels. You know what I'm saying? And you constantly just feeling like everything is just so urgent. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, shoot, I gotta do this now. Oh, dang, I forgot I gotta do that. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if everything needs my focus now, then everything is out of focus, right? Like it's you know how you could tell an iPhone camera, iPhone picture versus a DSLR. Y'all know the DSLRs. If you look at a DSLR, right, you can tell what they chose to focus on, right? When they made that shot. But in an iPhone, it's a little bit different unless you're in cinematic mode, right? Because everything in the frame is in focus. So like even if you look at the background, now they've tried to change this recently, so it makes it harder for you to tell whether a picture was taken with an iPhone or whatever. But if you look at that iPhone picture, you'll know it's an iPhone majority of the time because there is no depth, right? There is no depth. Everything's in focus, which can be distracting, right? Like when you look at an iPhone image, sometimes you're like, it looks good, but everything's in focus. And not that you have to have this shallow depth of field where, everything is blur, but there should be separation in that focus because if you were, and this is the first time that I've even realized it. I looked at what was it? It was like I thought about how a camera works, and then I looked at it from a sense of looking at like a pen, right? So if you take a pen, put it out in front of you, and then focus your eyes on the pen, right? Not everything else. You want to focus your eyes on the pen. When you do that, what you'll see is everything else around you in the vision field becomes blurred. None of that stuff is in focus, right? Even me right now, looking towards my camera with this pen here. If I'm looking at this pen, my my camera is out of focus in my vision. I see it, right? I can see it, but it's out of focus. That's how you become effective at staying focused on your path. It's the same thing. Everything else becomes blur when you're paying attention to the thing that you're focused on. We can't be focused if everything is urgent, if everything is calling for your attention right now, right? We had a whole stream talking about um what did we say? Attention. We were talking about attention and saying that everything is vying for your attention. Everything is trying to get your attention. That's like one of the biggest commodities right now is your attention. So if we can stay focused on our goal, then we're choosing where our attention is going. We're not letting other things take our attention. We're choosing to focus on this, right? Whatever that is. And so that's how we just have to make that decision, right? That's a decision on what you're choosing to focus on. There's times where I'm sitting here and I'm supposed to be working on something or whatever, and I may end up getting distracted, right? Then I have to bring myself back together and I'm like, you know what? Right now, I'm gonna work on this project. I don't care what else comes through, right? The only thing that's gonna trump my work, and I said this before in another stream, if you look back, the only thing that's gonna trump me doing this work right now is if my wife comes in or calls, or one of my kids come in or call. That's it. Other than that, I'm focused on this project, right? Because I'm choosing to do that. It doesn't matter whether email comes in, it don't matter what happens. I'm focused on this project because I have to finish it. I have a deadline. I'm trying to make sure that I'm done by X amount of time or whatever, right? That is focusing on what it is that you're choosing to do. You're making an intentional decision to focus on this. To the point, I do that to the point that I mess around and miss, like, I go back to my email box and I got like 100 emails, right? 100 emails, 3 texts, you know what I'm saying? And I haven't responded to it. But it's not because I don't want to, it's not because I'm putting it off. It's more so because I want to focus, I'm focusing on what I'm trying to do, right? And that is going to be a huge deal as we keep on going through this topic, okay? As we're going through this topic, here's what it is. There are things that I've talked about in my book, right? Life is a production, um, that really work for what this, how this, for this overloaded thought process, right? Because we talk about stuff like focus, right? That was the thing that I was just covering. Also understanding, right? Planning and completion. Because why do you want to start something new if you don't have the bandwidth to complete it? When I look at the things that I'm doing now, I have gotten to that point. I literally got there, right? Where I was doing so many things that I didn't even have the bandwidth to complete it, and I kept starting more. That gets your heart overloaded. You feel overloaded because I feel like, oh, this new thing is good. I should do this. You know what I'm saying? If I do that, then I can get to this point. If I do that, I can get to this point, right? But all that's doing is adding on to my to-do list. I don't need a longer list. You know what I'm saying? I don't need a longer list. What I need is effective and clearer production, ability to create. You know what I'm saying? So I guess if what I need is to be more effective, then how can we do that, like, immediately, right? How can we make that happen now? Because I'm all about that. Let's do this now. How can we fix it today? Because I don't want to feel overloaded anymore. I don't want to feel overwhelmed anymore. You know what I'm saying? And so what would I have to do? The first thing I guess I can do, and this is the hard truth, okay? This is the hard truth. I might not want to hear it, you might not want to hear it, but it could be the truth, which is, first things first, don't dump the whole list. Throw the whole list out. That first things first, throw the whole list out. We don't need it at all. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna start this over. So throw your old list out and we're gonna create a new one, right? And when we create this new one, what we're gonna do is separate the vision from the maintenance, right? We're going to separate the vision from the maintenance. And I thought about this, right? So this ain't, I'm not saying this by happenstance today. I've thought about this. How am I going to stop feeling overloaded, right? I got, basically what I'm doing is creating two lists because we're planning, okay? That's why we're throwing away the current list, right? Throw that in the trash, chuck that, right? What's it called? File 13, right? We're going to file that away. And we're going to create a new list, but this time we're going to start off creating two. Why? Because that whole list that we currently have is overwhelming. So we need to split that up. Okay. It's not that it doesn't need to get done, right? The maintenance items, it's not that they don't need to get done. We may need to look at another way to do them. We had a whole stream talking about automate the boring stuff, right? The maintenance stuff is the boring stuff, right? You're a leader. I'm a leader. We are needing to take care of the vision. And that's a fact. The vision is supposed to be where your mind is totally on, because that's how you stay focused, right? There are other people or other systems out there that can take care of the maintenance. So that's why I'm saying we make two lists, right? Your list now becomes two. How do we do that? We take the vision stuff, the stuff that's about, what you're building, how you're going to move forward, how you're going to, maybe get new clients, how you're going to grow this new product, right? How you're going to get it's the working walking the path in the direction of the goal. That's the part that you're focused on. On the other list, what we're going to put is anything that it takes to maintain these other things, right? So if for instance, say my goal is to build a website, right? In a website, you have the initial build of the site where you're being creative in trying to get across what you do or what you're trying to bring to the world, okay? And so you're going through the design element and aspect of that, okay? You're building this website. Now, depending on what program you build it in, you might be building it in WordPress, or you might be building it in Wix, or whatever it is. Wix is one thing because when you build it, you're offloading all of the plugin updates and things like that off to the Wix people. If you have a WordPress website, you need to manage that unless you have somebody else managing your WordPress website. Okay. But my point is that if you're focused on the front end, the things that the client is going to see, the things that it takes for them to want to use your service, the things that it takes for them want to even come to your website, right? That's the vision of where you're going. That's the vision that draws in, right? The maintenance of that is if you got to update some text, if you got to change some wording, if you got to, the creation of the wording is yours, but doing the work of might not be yours, right? Depending on where you are, where your goals lie, right? Unless you're trying to be a website developer. If you're trying to be a website developer, then that may look different, right? Because at that point, you're building it for other clients. You are maintaining theirs. But then you can also build a structure within that maintenance aspect that you don't have to do the work as the business owner that maintains the maintenance for other people's things, right? It can get deep. It can get deep, right? But the whole point is for you to have, especially if you're the owner, if you're the person that's over things, in your sphere of influence, then you have to maintain the vision. Let somebody else hire if you have to. Create a system. Use AI. Whatever you got to do, but make sure that that's doing the maintenance, so that way you can focus on the vision. That immediately will get you some relief. Immediately. That'll that'll give you time back, right? That'll give you bandwidth, throughput. You can put more things through. You can do more things if you can offload some things. So that's why we're going to split that list up, right? Now, for you being the visionary of whatever your goal is, we have to figure out next, well, what are the top three things, right, that deserves our attention, or no, excuse me, that helps to move our thing forward, right? So in the same illustration, we're talking about, needing a website built or whatever. Top three things, right? We're looking at, well, what are the colors? What are the text? What is the layout, right? Top three things that the vision needs to give. That's what the vision needs to give. Okay. But not but, when you give those, then you're offloading the actual creation of it, right? That brings you back time. Once you did the work of thinking it up, creating the layout, thinking in your head what all this thing is going to look like, and then you pick that up and you hand it over to somebody else to do the work, next, I can do the same thing for the next thing on my list, right? It's a handoff process. You're the visionary. Does it make sense? All right, let's keep going. So then we have to think about the fact of anything that we do have on the list, we need to scrutinize, okay? We have to scrutinize it. What does that mean? Let's look it up. You know how we do. We're going to go to scrutinize. What does scrutinize mean? Scrutinize. All right, let's go to the desktop and I'll put it up. This is a quick one too. Scrutinize, examine closely, right? So to scrutinize means to examine closely. Let's go with that. Let's go back. So now, if we take that list and we scrutinize it, what we have to do is figure out, well, what things don't serve the vision and what things should not control our day today. Because this is a daily thing that you have to do each day, right? You come in the morning and you look at the list or you create the list and you say, okay, what are the top 3 things today that I need to move my vision forward, right? Because you got your pad, you got you're writing it down, and you might do it on your computer or whatever. You got a notes app, or you might have a reminders app. I use the reminders app. That's what I do whenever I'm doing my stuff. But the point is that you have your list, okay? The reminders app is wonderful for it because I can move it, change priority levels, all kind of stuff within the app. So reminders, shout out to that app. If you don't use it, start using it because I'm telling you, it's a huge productivity enhancement feature. I guarantee, okay? Because you can easily write the stuff in there, right? Boop, 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 type the stuff in there, but you type it in there and then you can shift priorities. You can move them around and make things go over top of other things. Then once you do that, you can end up even putting a date that it can remind you, a time. You can put a date and a time that it can remind you to say, hey, now is the time that you need to start this or whatever. And that way you can put timers on your time, right? Timers on the things that you need to do. Okay. Because if you can do that, now you're taking back your time, right? Because you're choosing, you're making a decision of when I want to do this, right? If you use reminders correctly, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am, but if I'm not mistaken, if you use reminders correctly, whenever it's time for that reminder, you can actually make that force your focus modes to stop notifications or to stop calls or whatever, right? Which is huge. That's huge, right? I don't know whether you even get it, how huge that is, because that's you taking control of your day every day, right? You're taking control. You're putting forth the effort to say, here's what I'm going to do today. These are the things that's most important to get done. And I'm not going to let anything else get me defocused. Okay. Now, you have to remember though, do not load the day with more than what you can actually finish. Because there's times where you're like, okay, this needs to be done, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. Okay, cool, right? And you got this list, and the list just keeps getting longer because these are things that you do need to do. That's why you're planning it, right? Because there's some things that might not, if you really scrutinize it, some things might not, basically, it can wait till tomorrow, right? Or it can wait till the next day. Not everything has to be done now. There are things that may need to be done now, but if you're planning effectively, you should never get to the point where this needs to be done now, right? Unless there's an emergency. And don't make somebody else's emergency your emergency, right? Don't make somebody else's lack of planning your emergency. Last minute things, don't get me wrong, they can be a benefit to you because you can charge more, right? You can charge a fee for last minute. But that also means that you have to have a plan of what the regular fee is and what that fee is if it's a last minute. And then how long can it last minute be? Because obviously that's going to depend on your turnaround time of being able to complete it. And also, what are the things you have on your plate? Again, I'm saying these things, but I'm saying it because I'm also talking to me. You know what I'm saying? Talking to you, but I'm talking to me. aka therapy session with friends. Therapy session with your chat. Right? So here's what I'm saying. If the things don't deserve, or excuse me, not don't deserve, if the things that are on your list don't serve your vision, then it should not be a part of your day. Right? Or one thing that you could do is you can split up your days where maybe on, Tuesdays and Thursdays is when you work on maintenance things, right? Things that just maintain your moving forward, right? Or excuse me, not maintain your moving forward, support what you've already done, right? Keep you up. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you may focus on the vision stuff, right? Moving forward. Does that make sense? Saturday and Sunday, you could rest. However, you can even look at the fact of Saturday might not be rest. Saturday might be family day, right? Because you got to maintain it all. Friday night might be wife night. Maybe. It could be any day you choose, any day that she agrees. Think about it like that, right? This is about planning to be effective. This is about reducing the overload, the feeling of being overwhelmed, and taking control of your life. Because how can we show up being the best version of ourselves if we feel overwhelmed and out of control? Right? And we can't control no more than we can control. And what we can control is planning what we do. We can plan out our day. We can plan out what we want to do. We can plan out our vision. We can make sure that everything we're focused on is what matters, right? What matters to our continued success, what matters in our continued growth, what matters in our relationship, what matters in our family. Those are the things you want to focus on, right? And so, what we have to remember is that we need to just make a decision. That's how I see it. Like it because it's all decision. It's you choosing to say, I'm going to control what I have going on. I'm going to control this to-do list. This to-do list is not controlling me, right? Because in the grand scheme, a to-do list is a tool, right? As you're looking at that to-do list, it should be telling you the steps each day that you're doing today to reach that vision, right? Your to-do list is not your vision, though, right? Your to-do list is not your vision. Your vision is the steps completed that equal your vision. And so anything that is stopping you from being focused on that vision needs to go. It needs to go. The last stream that we did, we talked about your environment, right? We said leave to grow. That was the name of the video. Leave to grow. You can go back and look at it. Because we're talking about the whole environment can sometimes get you distracted. The environment can pull you back to the old you. The environment that you're in can make you unproductive, right? The environment that you're in can make it to where you can't actually get out of wherever you are, right? You can't grow if your environment is holding you from being able to grow, right? If you look at like fish tanks, fish only grow as big as the tank will let them. They can't outgrow the tank. And I don't know how that even works. I really don't. I've always wondered that actually. We might need to look at a video of that because I don't know. How does a fish not outgrow the tank when it has the ability? Some of those fish have the ability to be well bigger than the tank. If anybody knows, put it in the chat. Matter of fact, if you can find a video, right? If you can find a video, put it in the chat. Let me know though, because the chat might not allow URLs, but you can still tell me the title of it. Tell me the name of it on YouTube or whatever, because I'll watch it. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up and we'll watch it together. It don't matter to me. But the whole point is because if a fish is in a tank and they cannot outgrow the tank, they're going to continue to stay small, right? It's the thing of, if you stay in a small town and you're the big guy in a small town, then you'll never reach your fullest potential, right? I personally would rather be a small fish in a big pond than a big fish in a small pond. That's my take. Because being a small fish in a big pond means that I could still get more than I am if I'm the big fish in a small pond. Because there's more to be had, right? So if I'm in a big pond, the level of achievement possible, the level of access to revenue is more than likely greater in a bigger pond, right? It's almost like if I have a bigger pool of money, right? Some people are like, well, I'm not going to do this thing because, you know, I'm not getting all the money, right? They only want to do the things that they do because they're getting all the money. That's why they want to do what they want to do. I would rather work in a team. Why? Because if there's two, three, four people, we can separate work, we can delegate work, right? And once we can separate the roles and responsibilities and the workload, we can distribute the workload, then we can get more accomplished in a shorter amount of time. The faster we can get the things accomplished, the faster we can get to revenue. The more revenue we bring in, it might seem like we're getting little pieces at first, but we'll end up having a bigger pool of money. So I'm ending up doing less work and getting paid more than it would if I would have just did it by myself. It may take me so much longer to create, for illustration purposes only. Let's say I'm going for $1 million and I'm trying to do it by myself. That's a lot of work, right? Unless I hit something, right? But let's just leave it that way. To get to $1 million, that may require tons of work, a lot of to-do lists, right? That to-do list might be 3 million lines long of things that I need to do to get to $1 million, maybe. But in that same instance, if I have, 3, 4 people with me, then now I can bust down that to-do list, split it up. We can end up making more progress on that list than it can if it's just me. So we end up getting to the $1 million faster. Yes, we might have to split it up between 3, 4 people, but once we get to there, that can easily multiply. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we have the money now, it can multiply. But it's hard to get to the money if we're still having to do all the work. I don't think people get the concept, right? That's why they say there's power in numbers, right? You can actually make a lot more a lot faster when you have multiple people, as long as everybody's doing the thing, right? If they understand that they need to keep their eye on the vision and work the to-do list, we can make the money, right? So that's why I'm saying all the things that I'm saying, because I really need y'all to get it, because I need to get it. And I know how challenging it is. I know how challenging it is. I've had my company now for 20 years. It maybe even be longer than that now. Hold on. Yeah, just about 20 years, right? I've been doing this line of work for about 20 years. And so I've been through some serious, you know, crazy stuff, and getting distracted from my vision, and then coming back to my vision and getting distracted from it again because I feel like, oh, there might be something over here or there might be something over there. And what happens is it just ends up draining my energy. You know what I'm saying? It ends up draining my energy, and I haven't reached my goals yet because it's almost like fake progress. You know what I'm saying? like fake progress because I'm not leading. I'm just reacting. So that's what I'm saying. We literally have to get control of it. The faster we can get control, and sometimes that may mean you might have to make a little bit less to gain control. But once you get control, you'll get it back faster. You will get it back faster. You know what I'm saying? And so if it doesn't go to your goal, my suggestion is that you cut it. You heard that? You need to cut it. You need to cut. You need to cut it, yo. You need to cut it, right? If it doesn't go to the vision, cut it. If it's a maintenance item, delegate it. If it doesn't need to be cut and it's not a maintenance item, but it's not due today, delay it, right? And anything else that's not headed toward that vision, delete it, right? So the way we can think about it is cut, delegate, delay, or delete, right? It's because it's as simple as that. It's either you're going to cut it, you're going to delegate it, you're going to delay it, or you're going to delete it. You know what I'm saying? Because some things need to be done, yes, but you know what? That part don't even matter. But we have to understand what that is. And the only way to understand what that is to plan it, right? Let's make this more practical. I'm going to put it in order. I'm going to put it in order. Let me think about it. Hold on. I'm going to put it in order because this is going to help you and it's going to help me too. So let's put it in order. Because a lot of times, and this is, I think, the main reason why I have this challenge, because a lot of times I know the answer, right? Like, there's a lot of times you know the answer. You may listen to this channel and you're like, I knew that already, but the way you put it just made it clear for me. Now I can implement it in my life. That might be what you're saying because I say the same thing, right? I'm sitting there saying something, or I'm on a video saying something, or I listen to my music and I've said something, or I read my own book and I'm like, man, I said that. I already know the answer. It's just at the time when I need to use it, I might not remember it, or I might think of it in a different way or something, right? And so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this in a practical order so that way you and I can go back and recall this, okay? Based on what we talked about thus far. Here we go. Step one, brain dump, right? Brain dump. Meaning get rid of your old to-do list and brain dump all the new things that you know that you need to be doing that get you to your vision. Okay? So you brain dump. Next thing is what I say. Choose the top 3 things that actually matter today. Right? Because you brain dumped. You thought about everything. Everything that has to do with your plan, everything that has to do with your vision, thought about it all. Now you chose the top 3 things that can be done today, that either need to be done or can be done today. Do that. So once you choose those 3, the top 3, or you might end up, because I said top 3, you might end up putting down like 5 or 6 that you like, yo, I can do these today. Like all this right here, I feel like it either needs to get done today or it can be done today. But don't jump onto it just yet because we still have the cut, delegate, delete, delay, right? I said it a little off. Cut, delegate, delay, delete. Yeah. Now, if we take that list of things and we go through the process and scrutinize it and we say, hey, this right here, okay, not that important. We'll cut that. Delegate these right here because these are maintenance type things. Delay the other part because it doesn't have to be done today. It could be done tomorrow. And then the other part is to delete anything else because you really only want to be able to do 3, possibly 4 things during a day, right? Because you only have a certain amount of time in your day, right? How many hours of your day do you really have? You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure somebody else already did the math on that, so I don't have to do that. But in the grand scheme, you could think about it, the fact that you have 16 hours to really make something happen during the day, right? You really have about 16 because you do need to sleep. I don't think you know how important that is. Sleep is very important, but you don't want to get too much of it because then you'll start to feel lazy, like you start to feel lethargic. That's not what we want. What we want is to get 8 powerful hours of sleep. Okay. For me, I'm usually around 6.5 to 7. That's normally where I'm running when it comes to sleep. So, but working hours that I can actually keep pushing, somewhere around 12 hours, to be honest. 16 hours, I'm still getting stuff done, but it's a little bit slower. It doesn't have that same creativity and stuff. I start like feeling like I might miss something. Okay. So that's why I'm saying the biggest thing that you want to do is get you to maybe about 3, maybe 4 if one or two of the tasks are kind of small, right? Maybe a phone call or something like that. You might get 4. But the point is that it should be compressed down to the most important items for that day, 3. All right. Because once you do that, you well on your way, right? And at that point, you're also not building your day around pressure, right? You're building your day out of priority. What things that you feel are important to you to get done today? Because your goal is to reach the goal as fast as possible, right? Why do you want to reach the goal in 20 years when you can reach the goal in 2 months? You know what I'm saying? That's a huge difference. That's a lot of long days and nights that you're sitting there just reacting versus being intentional, planning your execution, and doing it. And some people always try to jump the execution before the plan. They're like, oh, I could do this. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And then they realize that they didn't really take it all into account. Now they got to go back and do some steps that they didn't take into account. That's why I'm saying you got to plan it every day. Boom, boom, boom. I did this yesterday. Okay, cool. Today, I'm going to do this. I can do these things right here because that'll set me up for tomorrow. I can do these things right here, right? You start to get a stride, right? Like you start to get a flow. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you grow. You grow in the flow. Move forward, right? You'll start growing. Now, if we're doing all of that, right? If we take that, let's call it like a reset plan, right? We take that reset plan. Now we have something that we can actually grow towards. We have a plan of attack because we talked about decision. We talked about, what the level decision making process is. So if you made the decision making process and actually looked at, okay, what decision to make, then now we're getting even further because we're using our decision making model, our framework to be able to get to the initial decision of what we're going to do when it comes to the vision, right? The overall vision. Then we use this reset plan to make sure that we're choosing the correct things that need to get done today. When? Today. When? Today. Why? Because that's what's going to make you control your day versus react through your day. I don't want to react through my day. And this is the reason why I've had to change some things, right? So for you, remember, and here's where we're going to call it, a to-do list is a tool. It's not your master. It's not the thing that you have to do. A to-do list is a tool. Use it by you controlling it. Because if your list is killing your vision, then the list needs to change. Not the vision. The list needs to change, not the vision. Right? Because the vision is what we've already decided that we wanted to achieve, and we're going for that. Don't worry about the overwhelming feeling because you won't be overwhelmed once you plan. Once you plan, structure it, then you set your day up and you work in that list. You taking some things off the list of the plan and you're saying, okay, what things on this plan can I do? What things lead me toward that vision? What things are the most important things today? These things are the most important. Okay, these are the three things I'm going to work on. Oh, yeah, I can also make that phone call. I can also send that email. But these three things right here are the most important things. These are the ones I'm working on today. Now, I'm going to do this one first. You know what? Hold up. This second one is important, but it's more of a maintenance item. That's not, let me get somebody on the line. Here we go. Can you handle this? Here you go. I'm going to pass this off to you. Move on to the next one, right? Now you've structured your day and I can take on one more thing, right? Because I gave one away, I delegated it. So now I can pull one more thing on. You look at the next thing, you're like, you know what? Based on what I know at this point, that part right there is not even needed. That would have been a waste of my time if I'd have started working on that. You know what? Cut it, right? Cut it. So it's simple when you think about it like this. It just doesn't feel simple when you're in the middle of it, right? When you're in the middle of feeling overwhelmed, everything, nothing seems simple. You know what I'm saying? All right. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. All right. Appreciate y'all waiting. Listen, to be honest, I think we're done, yo. I think we're done. I think we covered it all, to be honest. Like, we literally have walked out how to get this monkey off our back of being overloaded, you know? And you remember what I told you when I said that priority matters, right? We talked about priority earlier in this stream. Listen, th- my door was knocked on by who? My spouse. What does that mean? Be right back. I told you I would. Told you I would. Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter what else I'm doing because to me, she's a priority. I have to. There's no other way. So I'm glad this example happened because now y'all get to see that this is a fact. Like, you have to set your priorities, right? That's what the to-do list is about. It's about setting the priorities. But if you don't and you just keep putting more things on there, and then you're not even really walking the list, you're more so just taking or reacting to what's coming. That's a recipe for being overwhelmed, for having no bandwidth, and for feeling like you're not reaching your vision and you're not growing. That's why. That's why. So if your to-do list is killing your vision, then that means change it. Your list needs to change, not the vision. Keep your vision, change the list. Be intentional and change the list. Okay. So with that being said, you know who it is. You know what it is. It's Rich Bees, leader of the new school. Leader of the new school. Come on. Come on, people. Listen, listen. We are now at 41 followers, right? 41 followers, and we just got to 3 subscribers. Hey, we're growing. We're growing. We're growing, we're growing, we're growing. And I'm so excited, right? I'm so excited. Y'all see me on this stream, man. I did a little dance. Had to do a little dance, little shimmy. Had to do a little shimmy for that one. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I'm excited, yo. I'm excited. Whenever you can see growth happening, it's exciting. You know, sometimes I may feel like, stuff gets stagnant here or there, but I know what mission I'm on, right? I know what the mission is. I know what the vision is. I have my goals and I'm headed there, right? I have my goals and I'm headed there. I'm walking it out. And so it does take time, right? Everything in this life is over time. I've said it before. I keep saying it because it's the truth. In this world, everything is over time. So there's a time factor that's in between the creation of something and the ability of others to be able to enjoy it and know that it exists or whatever have you. It takes time for that. Nothing is instantaneous, right? So that means that you have to put in the work because what that time is work, effort, right? That's what's in that time, work and effort, right? You can compress that time and make it shorter, but that requires adequate planning, setting priorities, right? Delegating what is not meant for you to do as the leader or creator or the person who is in charge of that thing, right? And focusing on the things that matter most for you to achieve the goal, right? Basically steering the ship. Okay? Well, I had another example. How far can you get if everybody named mama is driving your car or stepping in front of your car or rushing to you and telling you need to stop, you need to change, you need to move, you need to go, hey, go to this store, go to that store. How fast are you going to reach your goal if you're getting all of this stuff at you every day? You're not. You're not. It'll be nighttime. Everybody else sleep and you the one that's still sitting up late night looking crazy because you feeling overwhelmed. When am I ever going to reach my goal? When am I ever going to achieve the thing that I feel like, I was designed to do? You won't do it if you're overwhelmed. You won't do it if you're feeling like that, right? And like I said, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to me. I'm talking to me because nobody has everything together. Nobody knows it all. Nobody has all the answers. Nope. You know what? Here's what I'll say about that though. You might have the answers in you. You might have all of the answers in you. However, the recall of those answers, sometimes it takes you hearing it from someone else. Sometimes it takes, a certain situation to happen that it recalls that answer. And so you end up off course all until you get the connection, right? The connection back in your head that, oh, here's what I could do. You know what I'm saying? So allow me to be that person for you. That's why I'm here. Because all I'm talking about is becoming a better version of yourself. And today, you can't be a better version of yourself if you're overloaded and reactive. It's hard. It's hard to show up that way because you're frustrated, right? You might even be disappointed with where you are because you haven't achieved it yet. So today, make the decision to scale back your to-do list. And that's all I got to say about that. Appreciate you showing up. Thank you for jumping in the chat. Thank you to our new subscriber. Hey, show up every time. I'm here all week. All right. See you on the next one. Thank y'all for joining me. This has been Rich Bees. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Follow your man, The Real Rich Bees, on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Let's go. Rich Bees out.